Here, why don't you cut the TV down?
Okay, you're all set.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to call the hearing to order, time of 6:30, December 10th, 2020, to reconvene the BZA Resolution 2020-28. I'll start with reading the minutes of the last meeting, as seems to be required here. And that'll give time for anybody else to show up if they're going to. The last meeting held November 16th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. was called to order at 6:30. I recognized Hugh Thomas and Audrey Kim from BL Companies and read the minutes from the prior meeting. Wes motioned to approve, Roy second, all voted yes. We had a roll call. Wes Hawkins, Roy Peck, Tom Tabalkin were present. Randy Usher was absent, but hoped to get to the meeting later. Wes motioned to excuse Randy and Roy seconded the motion. All voted yes. Others in attendance, Mayor Clark, Michelle Stuck, the solicitor, Marion Fabian, admin assistant, Hugh Thomas of BL Companies, and Audrey Kim of BL. We swore in Hugh Thomas, Audrey Kim, and Mayor Clark. I read the notice of record and the notice in the record courier. Hugh Thomas explained the request of the 4 variants for BL Companies. Per section 440.06-C-1, 1 parking space shall be provided for each 200 square feet of floor area. The required number of parking spaces for the proposed store is 46. We are requesting the variance to provide 28 spaces, which is a 33% reduction in the required parking spaces. The proposed number of parking spaces has proven sufficiently serve the peak traffic flow during holiday seasons for similar stores. A parking letter will be provided by Dollar General in support of the proposed 28 spaces. Per 440.10-E, all off-street parking areas constructed to meet these requirements shall be constructed at the rear of the building or side of the building. No parking shall be permitted in the front of the structure. Given the site constraints and size limitations, parking can only be provided in the front of the proposed structure. The existing site is occupied entirely by parking. Is somebody else talking? Oh, okay. Let's see, I lost my spot for a moment. Proposed development will decrease pavement area and provide more green space at the front of the property than what is currently provided. For section 440.12B2, parking areas having a capacity of more than 25 spaces shall have 2 access drives. At 28 parking spaces, a store of this size is proven to be adequately served by a single access drive. Adding another access drive is not feasible due to size of property. Additional driveway would also add a large amount of paved area to the frontage of the property, providing little to no benefit to the customers. For section 440.15-B-1, no less than 10% of interior parking areas must be landscaped. This is necessary to break up the visual expansiveness of lots and to reduce glare and heat. Amounts greater than 10% interior landscaping may be necessary to effectively shade the parking lot, reduce the impact of noise and fumes, as well as the visual impact of glare, headlights, parking lot lights from public right-of-way and from adjoining properties. Given the size of the lot and development constraints, such as facilitating vehicle movement paths, it's difficult to provide any interior landscaping for this site. The proposed parking area is lower than the existing right-of-way and would not create a negative visual impact. Questions and concerns from the public? Is the congestion from Orchard Street and Route 44 being taken into consideration? Will there be a turning lane? Will the lot be big enough to have semi-truck unloading? Tomas said that the question had already been answered. The turning lane and other questions or concerns have to be addressed by the Planning Commission, not the BZA. Questions from BZA members. Wes asked about the memorandum from CT Consultants. You said that he would like to discuss the comments from CT with the village first. Wes said that anything referenced with the village about parking should be discussed at this meeting. And he wants to know if they plan on being aligned with Orchard Street. You said that locating the drive across Orchard Street, that more poles would have to be moved. The crosswalk would be in the drive apron, which would be a safety issue. To line this up would put the building in the sanitary easement. Wes asked about the turnaround of trucks. Hughes said that they can show they can move trucks safely in and out of the site, and they are preparing a letter for the village. I asked if these were the only variances they will need, and Hugh replied yes. I also asked about a shared parking lot with Mantua Hardware. Hugh explained that when sharing access, there are maintenance concerns about who is responsible, and the agreements get very sticky with lawyers. BZA members deliberate offline session from 6:23 p.m. to 6:54 p.m. Thomas explained a decision could not be made on the BZA resolution 2020-08, the request for variance from section 440.06.c.1, requiring one parking space for each 200 square feet. The BZA feels they are not qualified to give an answer and would like additional engineering analysis from planning and CT consultants regarding BZA resolution 2020-10 before a decision can be made on BZA resolution 2020-08. 10, request variance from section 440B12B2, which requires the parking areas having a capacity of more than 25 spaces shall have 2 access drives. The BZA could not reach a decision and seeks additional clarification from engineers, parentheses, CT consultants, and the Planning Commission to verify if engineering requires 2 driveways. That would certainly impact the number of parking spaces. Another meeting is planned for 12/10/2020, 6:30 p.m. via Zoom, after there is some clarification on these resolutions to be able to vote. BZA resolution 2020-09, request for variance, which requires off-street parking areas constructed at the rear of the building and prohibits parking areas in front of the structure. A decision was made. Members voted as follows: Wes, yes; Roy, yes; Tomas, yes. Variance granted to allow parking in front of structure. Resolution 2020-11 to eliminate the requirement of any interior landscaping for the parking area proposed development was discussed. Members voted. Wes, yes; Roy, yes; Tomas, yes. Variance was granted. Tomas asked for questions or comments. Roy said he would like to see the store in town and one driveway across the street from Orchard. That's why he wants more information from CT consultants. We had a motion to recess by Wes, second by Roy. Meeting in recess at 7:28 p.m. until they meet again on December 10th at 6:30 p.m. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second. Randy.
Thank you. And now we get to say aye. So Wes, do you accept the minutes?
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Randy,
Aye.
and I'll vote aye as well. And at this point, I wanted to belatedly thank Chuck Engelhardt for all his years of service to the BZA. He was a valuable member and always very wise in his decisions and talking points. And I would also like to welcome our newest member, Bob Ress, to the committee. Welcome to the BZA, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for our roll call. Randy Usher,
Here.
Wes Hawkins,
Here.
Roy Peck. Okay, I guess Roy's missing today. Bob Ress,
Here.
and I am here. So can I have a motion to excuse Roy?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think that was unanimous. This hearing is being recorded and copies will be available at the village clerk's office. Now, the order of business, anybody wanting to testify at the hearing should be sworn in by our solicitor. Is there anybody that wants to talk at the meeting?
Hi, this is Hugh Thomas from BL Companies.
Okay,
Anybody
Oh.
else? Casey, Audrey?
Yep, sorry, I was working on mute. This is Casey Martin with Pick Snedeker, the developer.
Okay. You guys, do you have video?
Oh.
Hi, Casey.
Hey.
Okay, well, raise your right hand, repeat after me, or you don't actually have to read after me. Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
okay. Now I'll read the notice of public hearing, Village of Mantua. Mantua Board of Zoning Appeals has recessed its public hearing regarding Portage County permanent parcel 24-041-13-00-94-000 until Thursday, December 10th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. pending an advisory opinion from the Mantua Planning Commission. If permitted by Ohio law, the meeting will be held by Zoom video conferencing. Otherwise, the meeting will be held in council chambers at Mantua Village Hall. The hearing will be live streamed via YouTube. Two variance requests relating to the proposed Dollar General store remain pending. Section 440.06-C-1, which requires one parking space for each 200 square feet of floor area. Applicant requests a reduction from 46 spaces to 28 spaces. And two, section 440.12-B-2, which requires parking areas with more than 25 spaces to have two access drives. Applicant requests a single access drive. Copies of the application and plan documents are available at the Mantua Village Clerk's office during regular business hours. Stream link and instructions for submitting public comment will be available at mantuavillage.com. BL Companies, is there anything you wish to say at this point?
Sure. At the last meeting and the last planning commission meeting, we took the advice of the village and CT and worked with the village and CT in revising the site to accommodate site concerns, especially the driveway. I believe we worked with Gene Arders, reviewed the plans today, provided comments which will be addressed prior to the planning commission meeting. The site works really well. It actually lays out really well with the one access drive, as well as with the reduced parking, the two variants we're requesting now.
Thank you.
Other than that, thank you.
Do we have any questions or concerns from the public?
No, there is no comment at this time,
Okay.
other than what was emailed to you last week.
Okay, anything from the village? I guess I should read the letter from planning at this point. This is from the Village of Mantua Planning Commission. Dear Board of Zoning Appeals, Planning Commission has received your request for an advisory opinion regarding the following variance requests related to the proposed Dollar General store. Requesting a reduction from 46 parking spaces required by the zoning code to 28 spaces, and requesting a reduction to a single access drive from the zoning requirements. We have received and reviewed amended parking lot plans, which move the single proposed access drive to the south end of the development directly across from Orchard Street. We have also received and reviewed CT Consultants' analysis of the revised parking lot plan. Both of these items were provided to you by email on December 3rd, 2020. We feel that these revisions adequately address the concerns raised by CT Consultants' original engineering analysis dated November 10th, 2020, and referenced in your request for advisory opinion. At the Planning Commission's regular meeting of December 8, 2020, the Commission voted in favor of formally recommending that the Board of Zoning Appeals approve the two remaining variance requests described above. Please accept this letter as the Planning Commission's response to your request for an advisory opinion on the same. Sincerely, John Clark, Chairman, Village of Mantua Planning Commission. Is there anything else from the village or any questions?
Sir, this is Gene Arters with CT Consultants.
Yes.
I apologize. I missed the first 5 minutes of the meeting when you were reading the minutes, so I didn't know if you were new. I was on. I'm on just a phone call. But did you need anything, confirmation or an opinion from CT in regards to the two last requests?
At this point, I don't think so. The letter from planning was quite clear.
Great.
Do the members of the BZA have any questions for CT?
Yes, I do. Has anybody attempted to show how a truck is going to pull in and then get back around to back into the delivery door without tying up traffic on 44?
Yes, they have. They have provided turning movements of trucks coming from the northbound on Main Street, entering into the site, turning around and backing up into their delivery at the southeast corner of the building, and then leaving, and then vice versa, coming southbound on Main Street, turning left into the site and doing the same turning movement. And in both cases, the truck, delivery truck, can make the turn coming in without any issues, and same for leaving.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I have a quick question on that also. What happens if the truck is pulling in when a customer is attempting to pull out of their parking spot?
So I'll answer for Hugh, or Hugh can answer as well. But my understanding from what they explained last time is that deliveries are typically in the morning before their stores actually open, and they have one delivery typically that comes in. I don't remember if it was once per day or once per week, but it's not trucks coming and going at all hours. So the conflict of patrons visiting and the delivery truck should not occur.
Thank
Hugh,
you.
do you want to mention anything on that?
Yeah, what Gene mentioned is true. And also a big design on these sites is to prevent conflicts between cars and trucks. So there's plenty of room so trucks do not encroach upon parking spaces when they're doing their turning movements. And there's only one truck per week.
Okay.
I have one other question. At the planning meeting last week, there was a question that came up about a sewer that is apparently not where it was supposed to be. And there was the parking lot. And if the sewer, from what I understand, is 20 feet deep, how deep? I mean, that would be like a 20 course basement plus the 4 feet for the footer, and you would still have room. Is that something that's going to be done at the village's
Bob?
expense?
Bob,
Yes,
if I can interrupt, the reason for this meeting with the BZA is to address the parking issues only. The other issues will all be addressed through the planning commission at our site plan review next week.
okay, but is this going to affect
It has nothing to do with this meeting.
parking space?
It has
if that
nothing to
has
do
be
with the
moved?
parking.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to get our BZA members and Michelle, if she'll join us, into, oh, before I say that, is there anything else? Okay, I'd like to get our BZA members into an offline session to discuss this, and hopefully we'll be back fairly soon.
See you guys later.
Bye.
So what was the decision? Sorry, I'm late. I was in Akron.
You better go with them, Roy, because they're going into session.
Okay.
Crap, wait a minute. Now I gotta figure out how to get you in there.
While you're doing that, Roy, they received a letter and you guys got it in your email from the planning commission that we recommend approving this. We being the planning commission.
You're going in.
See ya. Hugh? Is he there? Hugh, are
Yes,
you
Mayor.
there?
Yes,
I think I forgot to email you the letter that the planning chair had sent to the BZA. I will do that tomorrow so you have a copy of it.
okay, thank you.
It was one of those hectic days, so.
Yep, understood.
Hectic day. I don't know what that is.
We all don't have the life of leisure like you do, Gene.
I thought hectic days were normal for all of us, right?
They shouldn't be for a part-time mayor,
That's what I said. Part
but I
time.
mean, I
You
have,
work more full.
yeah.
You work full time more than I see full time people working.
Mayor Clark, you did send us the letter last Thursday, I believe, to Hugh,
It
myself.
would have just been yesterday. It's dated
Oh.
December 9th. It's from Don Clark.
Oh, a different letter. Okay.
I think I sent you the CT consultants letter.
Yes, you did. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I would send it to you now, but I don't know how to leave the meeting or keep the meeting going and go to my other screen, so. I'm not that computer savvy. I'm one step at a time. And thank you for getting us the final plans. There's just a few tweaks I see that Jean is recommending, so. We got a
Yeah,
few
they did
days
a-
to see if we can work that out.
I appreciate the fast review time on that.
Well, you made my job easy because
Hey, I
the
cracked
report
the
was very
whip with
well
him.
concise and everything. So.
Poor Jean and Rich, I have them on speed dial.
In a few weeks, you'll get Rich off, right? It'll just be me.
That's right, that's right. I hope you still like me after when it's just you and not Rich and you. How's your son doing, Jean? Didn't you say he had done something to his ankle again?
Yeah, on his dirt bike. Yeah, he re-sprained his ankle, but luckily it was only for about a week. And you know those dirt bike kids, and he was back out there within hours. But he was all better, and we went. I took him motocross racing every other day, just like normal.
Oh,
You
wow.
never know the difference. At least I can say we got got the worth out of the dirt bike, motorcycle and all the gear and stuff, because he goes all the time.
I can remember, and this is a long time ago, because you can tell how old I am. When my husband and I were first married, we used to have Indian dirt bikes. And we used to ride back in the day. Now I probably
It's
couldn't
funny
keep
how-
one upright.
Well, it's funny you say that because I used to ride when I was his age, up until I was about 18, 19. And when I think it was like 2 weeks ago, it was like the last time the track was open before the winter. They close it now, but we were there and he met a couple kids and they were on these a little bit bigger bikes. And the one kid's like, "Here, you want to sit on it, Mr. Arders?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll get on it." Dang, I tell you, just trying to like put my leg, it's like getting on a horse where you got to put your leg swinging over. Man, you can tell when you're getting old when your back kind of gives out, and I barely get on, and I'm like, man, how am I getting back off this thing? Because you're gonna swing your leg back over.
Like I say,
That's when
I
you know you're
I
old.
can't imagine doing it anymore.
It does look like fun though. I
Yes.
do miss it.
Well, because I used to work in Aurora, and this is when I was in my early 20s. And we had plates on them, and I used to drive it over to work in Aurora. So besides tooling around, now I just can't imagine. I thought I was a real rebel back then, We're talking late 60s, early 70s. Showing my age.
Yeah. remember how I mentioned I got the new cell phone today, this iPhone,
Mhm.
and it's fun. That's why I was late because I couldn't figure. I don't have all my things on here, and I couldn't figure out how to get, because it's an Apple. I'm used to Androids, and I couldn't figure out how to dial in. So I could dial in at least, not Zoom it. And it was funny. My kids they're all young. I mean, they're all under, they're like 13 through 16, and they are just like nonstop of, oh, what kind of phone did you get? Oh, did you get this? And I'm like, I don't care. I said, if I can read my emails, I can actually answer calls. I can be on a Zoom call, and I can take site photos with it. I'm good. And I'm not, I'm old, but not that old, right? And they're just like, well, you can do this and this. And I'm like, I don't care. Well, you can do FaceTime and put these like little stickers on the person. And I'm like, yeah, because that's what I'm going to do with my clients. I'm going to put little butterflies on their heads and stuff.
Hey, I'm lucky I can receive a text and forward it on to somebody else, and taking pictures are a real struggle for me. I think I'm sitting there studying. It's just like a regular
know
old
what?
camera with me. Chop their head off.
I do have to say though, even though I had my last phone was an S7 Galaxy, it was a Samsung Galaxy, right? So it wasn't, it was, I don't know what that is, 4 years old or something. But I never had those, like a Siri, or I don't know if Samsung or Droids have something like that. So, but I got this phone, and my daughter was just showing me, she's like, you can do Hey Siri. And I'm like, oh. So when I called you, that's what I did. Like, hey Siri, call, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and then I called you. I'm like, hey Siri, call you. And I'm like, okay, I have to admit, that is pretty cool. I don't have to sit there and type it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then just for the heck of it, I was having so much fun. I'm like, I didn't get Hugh. I'm like, I'll call Jordan. I go, hey Siri, call Jordan.
I think my phone that I could make it voice activated so I could say call Jean or whatever, but again, that's above my technology.
Yeah.
And when I ask my son to help me do things like that, he'll just look at me and shake his head. I mean, he has to come over and update my computer because I never remember to do it. He was on it the other day for something and said, when was the last time you updated this? I said, last time you were here and did it.
Yeah. Well, here's a good one for you. Back in March, when we had to do our stay at home,
Mhm.
I used it because I have a desktop computer, because I use I'm a heavy AutoCAD user. So I'm just like, I don't want a laptop. I'm okay with the desktop. Well, the downside is now that we had to stay home, my desktop doesn't have a speaker, it doesn't have video or anything like that. So what I was able to do is do it on my phone. But again, to make it easy that I can actually type and use my hands while I'm on the phone, one of my kids gave me their what are those, like an Xbox, the microphone headphone kind of a thing. So I got like the speaker thing in front. So I used that for maybe the first 2 months, 3 months, nonstop, never had an issue. It was great. So out of the blue, all of a sudden, I could hear people, but I couldn't talk. And people were like, gee, we can see your mouth moving on the video, but we can't hear you. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm unplugging it, putting my phone, I dial back out, dial back in, I try phone calls, nothing's working. And I'm like, oh, I'll just let it go. So I take it off and I just use the phone like normal. So I did that for like 3 days. I couldn't figure this thing out. And I'm pretty technical. Not like big time, but enough that like I'm the one who fixes my mom's stuff when I go to see her, right?
Mhm.
And I'm just like, I got to go out and buy a new headphone set, which is going to stink because I was using this one for free and all this stuff. So my son calls me on his way home from school, and he's 13. And I'm telling him something like, oh, yeah, I got to do you have another headset I can borrow? And he starts troubleshooting it over the phone. He's on the school bus. He's like, did you reboot your cell phone? I'm like, yes, I did that. I know that much, right? He goes, did you plug it in through the headphone? Yes, I did. So then he tells me on the phone, he goes, did you undo the microphone and re-plug it in? And I go, It doesn't come out. He goes, yeah, it does. I said, I'm pulling on it. It doesn't come out. He goes, no, you got to yank it because it's not really made to come out, but it does come out. He goes, yank it out and push it back in. I'm like, okay. So I pulled it. Sure enough, it was hard, but it came out. I plugged it back in, and guess what? It worked. I was like, oh my God, I'm officially my mom now. Oh man, it kills me.
Well, I didn't think they'd be in there that long, this long.
Yeah, I know. The nice thing is the layout, the way they relayed that out works really nice. I mean, it lines up beautifully with orchards. The grading was a lot better. The detention basin worked out nicer too because now it's behind the building, so it picks up the roof drains, and they don't have to worry about landscaping and maintaining that. I mean, not that detention basins are ever ugly per se, but I mean, if you don't maintain them, they can get like cattails and whatnot. So I mean, I think it worked out really well.
I've been looking at, my screen is not big enough, and I printed it off on the biggest paper that we had in Village Hall today, and I'm still struggling. It's a good thing I have a magnifying glass so I can. Yeah, this I could do 11 by or 8.5 by 14 was the biggest paper they had there.
Gotcha.
And everybody else is fine with doing it electronically. I need to look at the paper, so I'll just use my magnifying glass. And
I do have to say that I used to like doing it through the paper, but again, everything that I do is electronic. I mean, the downside is when you've got, let's say, 20 sheets, if you're on page, let's say, like, I don't know, the grading plan, and it's like the 5th sheet, and then I'm like, wait, let me look back at the utility plan, and I got to flip back. Whereas paper, you can have them side by side. So, there are pros and cons, but on the flip side is I can zoom in and zoom back out, be able to see that detail without, seeing the paper. And then the other nice thing is you can make marks with like the software nowadays with like these PDF writers and whatnot. You can put, if you need it, you can put little comments on, you can highlight. And then if you're like, oh, maybe I don't need to do that, I can erase it. Whereas back in the day, I'd be marking it with a red pen on paper. And then you're like, oh, they did do this on another sheet. Well, what am I going to do? I already marked it on the first one. So then you're like, crap, so you're whitening it out or, whatever. It does make it efficient, though, the submittal process because, Jordan sent that stuff yesterday at like 3, 4 o'clock. Back in the day, you'd be rushed going 3, 4 o'clock, and you got to print out 12 sets, and then put, get a UPS thing and then get it to the delivery. God, how many days we'd be driving to the local place in Highland Hills or whatnot, trying to get it there. And then, rush to get it the next day. And then you're chasing it down going, did UPS deliver it yet? Did they deliver it yet? That was nice and easy. It's just send me an email or I didn't get it. Resend it. Okay.
I figure if worse comes to worse and I really can't read it, then I can go back to Village Hall. Oops, they're coming back.
Okay, we're back. And it's time to read the resolutions. Village of Mantua, Ohio, Board of Zoning Appeals, Resolution 2020-08. Therefore, upon roll call vote of those members present, be it resolved by at least a majority of the members of the Board of Zoning Appeals of Mantua, Ohio, that the above application for variance from section 440.06.C1 of zoning code of the Village of Mantua in order to permit a reduction in the required number of parking spaces for the proposed retail development from 46 spaces to 28 spaces. Wes Hawkins. How do you vote, Wes?
Yes.
Roy Peck.
Yes.
Randy Usher,
Yes.
Bob Ress,
Yes.
and I vote yes, so it is hereby granted. Village of Mantua, Ohio Board of Zoning Appeals, Resolution 2020-10. Upon roll call vote of those members present, be it resolved by at least a majority of the members of the Board of Zoning Appeals of Mantua, Ohio, that the above application for variance from section 440.12.b.2 of the zoning code of the Village of Mantua in order to permit the parking area of proposed retail development to be served by a single access drive is hereby, let's vote on it. Bob Ress,
Yes.
Randy Usher,
Yes.
Roy Peck,
Yes.
Wes Hawkins,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So it is hereby granted. Do I hear a call for adjournment?
Moved.
Second.
Call for adjournment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, have a good evening, folks.
You too.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.